Hi everyone, checking in here today. It is a Wednesday today, halfway through the week, sort of, getting to Friday by day, getting through this holiday season. But I don't know when these are going to come out. I've said that several times, but hopefully soon. I'm just so new to this because, excuse me, my voice is still cracking. But yeah, I'm just so new to this because it's crazy how behind you can get, especially when you're trying to do like daily videos or even every other day videos. It's just crazy. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the next episode of 1,000 Pound Best Friends. And we're on season, don't quite remember the number. I think it's episode 5-ish, around that area, I know. But we're continuing on from the last episode where Scott had visited the doctor with his mom, and he threw this, I hate to say tantrum, but it reminded me exactly of a child's tantrum, like my own kids do. But yeah, he was just really upset, went to the hall, was cussing and yelling and hitting the wall and things like that. That's the other thing. Whenever I see like someone on TV or in a movie punch a wall or something, I think it's just the most childish thing I've ever seen. I myself have never hit anything when I'm mad, but I do cry. So there's that too. Crying is kind of childish as well. But that's a weird tangent to go on. Let's just continue. So in this episode, it's continuing that, and he does go back to the room to finish talking and finish the appointment with the doctor and his mom being there. So I guess he just kind of calms down and realizes, he needs to just get through this and face facts and go on. I mean, I thought he had lost about 20 pounds, but he actually only lost 15 pounds. No, I did. It was exactly half. So he was supposed to lose 30, right? He lost 15. So I guess for people of that size, it should be fairly easy to lose 30 pounds. So the fact that he only lost 15 pounds meant he was definitely cheating. And then later on, Vanessa does confront him on this. So yeah, it's just this thing. But does talk to them. His mom the doctor tells her, it's okay. Let's just get through this. Let's relax on this. They finish the appointment. They say, let's move forward. The past is the past. Let's move forward. And I think that he gives him a new goal, and they schedule another appointment in the future. And let's hope that he makes that goal. Meanwhile, Tina, the new Tina, she had surgery, right, in the last episode. So it kind of does this quick little scene where it shows her recovering at home in her room. And she looks like just totally winded and upset, and there was a little bit of a red flag because she already in that moment was talking about how she was hungry and wanted to eat something. But when you've just had surgery like that, well, from what I've heard is that you physically can't, you don't want to eat, you're just that sick. She has like this protein shake or veggie shake or something like that. And she does mention to her husband that only a couple sips fill her up, but she's like still mentally hungry, I guess is the word, which is totally understandable. I have gone through the very same thing where when I get on track again, I plan my meals and I know these meals are filling and they can fill me up. It'll be like vegetables and chicken or chicken breast, protein. I know it's filling me up. I know I'm satisfied, but there's still this certain type of hunger lingering. Maybe I'll do a blog pod on that too later on. There's like a mental hunger that's completely different. It feels the same. You feel hungry. Your stomach's not like rumbling at all. Your stomach doesn't hurt. It's not that achy, realistic hunger. It's a different hunger. It's like a brain hunger. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's like a want, a desire, an addiction hunger where you you have to have it. You want it to feel better. You want it to feel this warm feeling, or you're stressed out and you just want to make the stress go away type of thing, which is not good. It's definitely a toxic trait to have, but a lot of people have it. So, and even, like thin people have it. Even they get used to like holidays and they'll overeat on the holidays because they have that hunger, that extra hunger later where they're just used to eating more. But I'm rambling, so let's continue. So yeah, it just showed her at her home recovering, and it's a little red flag that kind of connects to later on in the episode. So the next part, Scott goes to meet up with the friends. They all go to this cute little restaurant to hang out. And I guess the purpose of this meetup is to talk about his recent appointment and congratulate him, I'm guessing, because of course they are rooting for him and they're going to assume that he made his goal. But he's kind of dreading it, of course. He knows he didn't, and he has to face the music, which when you're in a journey, you do need to force yourself to face the music. If you just stay stuck in denial, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And you're going to allow yourself to keep slipping up because you'll be like, oh, I'll tackle it next week. That same mantra that just you replay over and over again. But he does go, and oh my gosh, I thought it was funny how they started off talking about Vanessa getting the surgery. She is going to have the skin surgery. She got approved. It's great. But I'm sorry. I keep getting all their names mixed up with all these shows. Megan. There's Megan, Ashley, Vanessa, and Scott. Okay, so Ashley is the one I'm thinking about. All these A names. But Ashley mentions to Vanessa that once she has that skin removal surgery, she's out of the fat girls club and she needs to hand in her card. And Vanessa gives her a little fake card. I thought that was so cute. And Vanessa's acting all hurt, but they're just having fun with each other. It was great. But after that, it is time for Scott to, they ask Scott how it goes. Oh, and the other thing, they're ordering, and Scott orders this appetizer, this guacamole appetizer, which they already were kind of judging him on, and Vanessa was like, aren't you having an entree as well? And it's like, when you're on a weight loss journey, you don't really need an appetizer. I'm sorry. For me, appetizers, when you're on a deficit, appetizers and desserts are kind of out the window. Maybe you can allow some calories for a dessert, but definitely get rid of the appetizer because you never know if you're going to have a dessert, if your entree is going to come with rolls or bread or chips. You never know what, unless you ask the waiter, right? But yeah, he orders an appetizer and an entree, which Vanessa judges him on right away. And she asks him, and he kind of gets defensive. He's like, it's fine. It was weird because the waitress asks him, do you want the queso guacamole? And he said no, he wants the regular guacamole. But when they bring the guacamole to him, it's covered in these little cheese balls or cheese cubes. So I was like, why order it plain if they're just gonna add the cheese anyway? I don't know. Maybe the cheesy one has liquid cheese poured all over it, or I don't know. I just thought it was so weird that the plain guacamole had cheese all over it. My little mini rant. Sorry about that, but I just thought it was so weird. But yeah, they see the guacamole and they see the cheese and they're just glaring at it. Not glaring, but they're giving kind of these little judgmental looks. And the whole time Scott's just getting more defensive. And then Vanessa just jumps right in because he's kind of making these little excuses. And she's like, oh, well, you did see the doctor, right? How did that go? And, you're going to tell Scott's uncomfortable. But he does admit that he didn't reach his goal. But he doesn't say it like that. He says, oh, well, I lost 15 pounds. And Vanessa's happy for him. She's like, wow, in 1 month already? 15 pounds? And he's like, no, it's 2 months, 15 pounds. And Vanessa's face drops and she's like, oh no. And so she's like, well, you need to get yourself going. You need to get on track. You need to be serious about this because we care about you and we care about your life. And Ashley jumps in and she's, they're kind of scolding him. And I know he's younger than them, but it really felt like parents scolding their child on this. Like, okay, what are you going to do differently? This time you know what you got to do, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's getting more and more defensive. And he's like, I know, I'll do it. And he kind of just shuts down and gets quiet. And Megan's kind of sitting there as well. And I think she kind of notices he's getting upset, but she doesn't really say much. And he kind of just says, I need to be excused. I need to go outside. And he goes out the restaurant. And Vanessa knows immediately. I'm sure, being in a drama situation like that several times, you can read the room. You can realize when someone's hurt. And Vanessa's like, I think we upset him. He went out. And he goes outside and the girls are like, they're just speechless, sorry. And Megan's like, okay, well, I'm going to go check on him. And Megan goes out to check on him. He's kind of just standing on the sidewalk by a truck or car or whatever it is. And he's upset. And you can tell he immediately starts to cry when she asks him if everything's okay. And it's very sweet because she hugs him, and it's this kind of sad moment, but it's a sweet moment because that's a good friend right there. They come and they support you and they hug you, and she's just checking in to make sure he's okay. And, also remind him that he does need to get back on track, but also give a kind of softer side to it because it is tough. I think Megan said she's used to that. She's been through that where people are judging her. I'm not sure, but maybe she was referring to the episode in the other season where she went to the doctor and the doctor basically laughed at her. That was crazy. I know that it was just a slip up on his part, but it was very unprofessional, and I totally understand why she was upset by that. And I think she might have been referring to that, or maybe some other time when the girls all were talking to her, because she did have a moment where she wasn't doing well, and I think they tried to help her also. So she has experience with that, and she was kind of relating with him on that. And I'm sure it helped him a lot. And she said, let's just get through this together and move forward and go back inside. She manages to get him to come back. They sit down. And the other girls, they're still kind of like a little cold. I guess they did change a little bit. They were a little softer at that point. But they do. Vanessa says, we do this. We talk to you about these things out of love because we care about you. It's a place of love, and we want you to do better, and we want you to save your life, because at the end of the day, this is a life-threatening situation. To be that high of a weight, almost 600 pounds practically, it's very life-threatening. He's young still, so he doesn't feel it. It doesn't worry him. But I've seen on the news, I've seen young people passing away from this. It's crazy. It's crazy. As young people, like in their teens, like teenagers dying from diabetes. It's crazy. So maybe he doesn't feel anything yet. He doesn't have any problems yet, but it's right around the corner. You don't know with these kind of diseases, these kind of high levels of weight, you do not know what's going on in your body. And being young, it's even more dangerous because you don't have symptoms. You still feel healthy. You still feel you have a little energy and movement still. So there could be something that we don't even know about, or that he doesn't even know about, right? So I'm glad they had this talk with him. I thought it was a little harsh in the beginning. I think they should have come, to him in a more, positive way or softer way, which they did do eventually towards the end. But it was just a lot for him to handle from the start, right? But I think him dropping the bomb on them like that so quickly was also jarring, and it made it, difficult for they just kind of jumped into it because it was maybe shocking to them. I don't know. Maybe if they had known ahead of time, they could have planned better. I don't know. But the next part goes on. I guess Tammy, sorry, I am not thinking straight. By the way, I do drive when I do most of these vlogs because that seems to be the only time I have time or I'm alone. So sometimes I do get distracted. I am so sorry for that. But I do get these shows mixed up as well. So Vanessa and Tammy are pretty similar because they're both trying to get the skin surgery. But Vanessa's really happy because she did finally get approved. She did all the blood tests that were talked about in the last episode, and she was cleared to do the surgery. So great, great, great. She gets with her sister, and it's like really dark. I think it's early in the morning. They're driving to the hospital. She's a bundle of nerves. Now, her sister, they've had a lot of drama in the past. I'm not sure how their relationship is now. It seems like they have rekindled things. Things are better again. They do still have this kind of small tension between them. And it's shown when Vanessa kind of pours her heart out. She tells her, she's pretty nervous. I thought it was cute because her sister's like, you better not try to get skinnier than me. And she's like, of course I am. But Vanessa does get really nervous, and I'd be nervous too. Morning of any surgery, I'd be nervous. And this one, I don't know, in some ways, this one seems much higher risk than the actual gastric surgery, just because the size of the incisions they make are so much wider or so much longer, bigger, whatever you want to call it. And that, it's like basically you're cutting yourself open. And Vanessa even comments on that she's cut herself open pretty much. They're making these large incisions. They do her arms, and it's multiple very large incisions in your body. It's like stab wounds almost. It's like you're getting stabbed all over, and they're just stitching you up again. So this is a much higher risk surgery and more painful surgery, I imagine. Of course, with the gastric, you get all the air trapped inside and you have that kind of pain, but this one sounds extremely painful as well. I've never had a C-section, but I feel like it's similar, and from what I've heard, it's really bad. It feels like you're hit with a ton of bricks and you can't move, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but this is something she's really dreamed of doing for a long time, and she's finally got approved, so yeah, go for it. But she's upset. Her sister kind of comforts her. There's still like this tension, but she's like, it'll be fine, and that's it, and Vanessa's like in tears, crying and scared. So I think they're doing well, but you could still see it's tense between them. I don't know, just my experience on it. What's the word? Yeah. So that while that's happening, it cuts away. It goes to the pool part of the episode, which I was looking forward to. Megan, all of them show up at this pool. It's raining outside, so that was weird, but it's an indoor pool, which I really like indoor pools for that reason. You can just up and go and swim whenever you want. And swimming is such a good exercise, to be honest. Like, it's low impact on your joints, but you're also burning more calories than you think, especially if you're full-blown moving around and swimming and using your body weight. If you're just kind of floating around, that's not going to do anything. But if you're full-on swimming, you do start to sweat, but you don't feel it because the water, like, keeps you cooled down and rinses it off. But also, you do feel the burn after a while. You do get tired. And this episode inspired me to want to just go swim again to work out. But it's kind of hard. It does cost money, this time of year, it's rough. So maybe I'll do like a challenge later in the year, in the summer or something. I don't know. It's just so inspiring because I love swimming so, so much. So they show up, Tina and Megan show up, and Megan talks to her right away because she had talked to Tina before and found out that she was having issues with food, and that's a red flag. And she asks her about it, and Tina explains that she's just hungry all the time. And she was so hungry the other day that she went ahead and had a couple bites of this giant burrito with rice. And Megan is just shocked in that moment. She's absolutely shocked because she's like, I didn't eat rice for like a year. Like, I couldn't. She said she physically couldn't eat rice and wouldn't eat rice. And it was like a year before she did. And when she finally did eat the rice, it made her sick because it expanded so much in her little new stomach pouch, right? So she was just shocked that she's already trying to eat things again that she shouldn't be. And she's like scolding her on it, like, this can make you sick. This is very dangerous. You shouldn't do this. And Tina's just upset because she misses food and she's been depressed and she hasn't left the house for 2 weeks because she's just so depressed about food. And it kind of got me thinking, like, yeah, this is something that really happens. Like, especially a lot of people, their whole lives are revolved around food. And a lot of families are like that. All of their family events are food. Like in Thousand Pound Sisters, when they get together, they go to a restaurant or they go to have a picnic at the park. It's all food. It's holidays, food, food, food. And so someone like that, like Tina, she's probably, her whole life is around food, and now that's taken away. It's gotta feel, I don't know, depressing, sad, isolating. It's like her friends go off and eat and she doesn't want to go because she's just gonna be tempted, or she's maybe gonna overeat and feel sick, and so she just doesn't go at all. So Megan gets her out of the house to try and help her, because being depressed is a bad sign, very bad sign. Wanting to eat when you physically shouldn't or you physically can't is also a bad sign. So she does give her some advice. I don't know if she heard it or she's going to try to do better. I think she might need a little bit of therapy, but they don't really mention that at all. We'll see what happens. But she decides to get her in the pool. This is a good therapy as well. Getting out and trying new things instead of just eating at restaurants is so good. So the pool, good idea. Kudos to that. Good job, Megan. And you know, Megan's I'm really actually loving her this season. She's so supportive of her friends, like with Scott. And then this with Tina, and she's doing so much better. Like last season, I was really worried for her. And she was kind of becoming this toxic, emotional person like Amy had in the last season as well of her show. So I'm just really loving this supportive side of her in this episode. And she's so funny and bubbly and happy, and I'm just loving it so much. So they go in the pool. Scott arrives. Oh, and another thing, Tina didn't want to go in the pool because of her bathing suit. She puts the bathing suit on. It actually looks really good on her. And she's just so upset. And she's like, I look awful. I can't do this. And Megan's like, what are you talking about? You look great. You gotta stop beating yourself up. You look good. Okay, yeah, we're overweight. But, you know, look at me. I don't mind. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're allowed to swim. We're allowed to improve our lives. And beating yourself up is not going to help you. And all it's going to do is hinder you. It's going to hold you back. It's holding her back from going and experiencing this new exercise and swimming. So she's got to change this mentality, just rip this out of her head. And she does kind of have this moment where she's like, she's right. You know, I don't have to beat myself up and think I'm so awful looking that I can't go out in public and do things. No, you absolutely should, and you absolutely can and should, right? You should go out, walk, go out, hike, go out, swim, do what you need to do to improve your life. Unfortunately, yes, there are people out there that judge you 100%. They look at you, they judge you, they see how big you are. They probably talk about you behind your back. I know it's happened to me. I know it's happened to many people. That's what I hold on to, is that, yes, these are people, real people out there talking about you behind your back, but they do it to a lot of people. And at the end of the day, it's your life. You do what you want to do. Don't care about what they think. Don't let it hold you back. Enjoy. And later on, you're going to lose the weight. And they won't be talking. They're going to talk about you for a different reason. Maybe they're going to be like, oh, what's with her hair? Or what's with her nose? Why is her nose... Who cares? Who cares? No matter what you do, someone out there is going to talk about you. And sorry, I'm ranting again. But I'm just so glad Tina had this aha moment. I hope she holds on to it and keeps going with everything in her life. You know? So... they do swim. Scott shows up. It's very cute because they're like, oh yeah, Scott's here. They kind of build him up. He jumps on in. They do the water aerobics class, which was great. I thought it was awesome. It looked really fun. It looked like they burned some good calories. Megan like falls over at one point, which is so funny. And she can't really get back up again. And I'd relate because that's kind of like a short person problem, where if the water's too deep and you kind of slant over a little bit, you'll like lose your footing and you can't get back up. So yeah, I thought that was great as well. After the class ends, it looked really fun, by the way. It looked so enjoyable. But after it ends, Scott tells Megan to close her eyes in the water because they continue swimming a little bit after. And I was like, so I don't really look at the previews. Maybe I'll glance at it sometimes, but I didn't watch it, so I was not expecting this. But he has her close her eyes to bring her a prize. He throws it in the pool. It's this pool floaty, and it's like this giant pool floaty in the shape of a cat head. It made me laugh. Okay, it did. It got to me. And he tells her he got her 12th cat, which I had forgotten that she has a house full of cats. Like, that's just crazy to me. But he got her 12th cat, this little pool noodle. I thought it was great. I'm sure after their connection earlier in the episode, he felt the need to, give her something. Gifts aren't super necessary, but they are, they come from a genuine, heartfelt place, and it's like a way to show gratitude. So you can show gratitude in other ways, but he decided to get her this gift. I don't know if it's correct or correlating exactly with that, but he did. And it was so sweet. She was so excited about it. They put it in. She jumps on top of it, which she makes a comment. She's like, I haven't been on top in a long time. Oh my gosh. It was funny. But she jumps on top of it. They have a blast. And it's another one of those moments where they're just like kids again. And they have this hyperactive energy. And they're just enjoying life and having a blast. And I really, really, really hope that Tina kind of saw this new experience, that you can get out of the house and have fun. And you don't need food to do it, right? We'll see. But I just thought it was great. It was great. Even Megan mentioned this was one of the best gifts she's ever gotten. And not even her husband gives her gifts like that, okay? Which they never show the husband that much, but that's okay. Some people do not want to be on camera, and that is fine. Like me, for example. But anyways, so I need to wrap this up. This is going to be one of my longest videos, I think. Vlog pods. At the end of the episode, Tammy does go through with the skin surgery. They do not film it. It is not allowed to be filmed. I'm guessing that it was a lot of blood, or there was just so many incisions. It was just too much, and it was too high risk to really show it on camera. So they decided to keep it separate. But yeah, they do go through with it. And Tammy in recovery, wow, that recovery looked bleak, very sad and depressing. She still has her personality in there. You can see it. She'll have like her little smile come out again, or she'll like stick her tongue out and stuff, but you can tell she's in pain. And she even mentions she feels like she's just split open and her whole body is on fire and pulsing and swollen. They do give her pain medicine. I hope they give her enough to, get through this. But, pain medicine is very addicting. So they do tend to prescribe less than necessary. Well, not necessary, but they'll do little bit by bit just to keep you from getting super addicted. Because the more you take and the more often you take it, the more likely you'll get addicted, right? So, I don't know. I felt for her in that case. But without pain medicine, I can't imagine. That would be so painful. It's like you've been stabbed, like I said before. And you're just recovering. And it's not just one stab wound. It's her arms and her stomach and everything. And she mentions how weird it is that she doesn't have Betsy May. That Betsy May just became a part of her. And I can see that. It's like removing part of your arm. It's like you're used to your arm being there, right? You're used to the skin being there. And when you lose weight, it's kind of that same thing. It's a gradual weight loss, so it's easier. But imagine just chopping off that weight immediately. You would feel weird. It would feel different, right? And it's the same thing with her. But they get her home. She's, really in pain. And, I'm kind of worried for her as well. She's worried. She feels like something's wrong and it's too much. And I don't know if there's like an infection or something going on, but it seems too early to tell. But she's just genuinely freaking out about it. Her sister does what she can, but it is what it is, right? Especially when you're in that much pain, there's not much you can say to comfort them. But yeah, the only other part of the episode that happened was Scott going to the therapy. In my opinion, I think therapy should be private, but this one kind of was an exception to me because there was just so much good information in this session. The therapist asks him about his past, and he does talk about his father and how he kind of looked down on him in disgust but would never really do anything about it. Unfortunately, this does happen. Your kids become overweight. It is parents' job to try to address the issue and fix the problem, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't happen most of the time. In some cases, the parents make it worse. I'm being really careful with my words here because this is a sensitive issue, but there are some parents out there that do overfeed their kids to the point of extreme obesity, and it will cause diabetes, it will cause disease, heart disease in children, and there are even cases of children passing away, which I had mentioned earlier. And so this does happen. I could see Scott's point of view that his dad did kind of maybe ignore it just to make it easier. I don't know. But the fact that he still was judging him and looking at him in disgust is very sad. So that's something Scott has had to deal with. Also being bullied at school. Kids, kids are the worst. I love kids, but kids, they don't have a filter. They don't have any kind of filter. Their entertainment sometimes can be to make fun of other kids, to make fun of other kids' differences. And the kids that bully are the ones that are raised up as popular because they see them as like a comedian, maybe like, oh yeah, they're so funny how they talk about these other kids, or they're so cool because of that. And it's this toxic thing in schools too, where you want to be the cool kid, so you'll take out your own friends just to be cooler than them. So I see that Scott was kind of pushed down a lot by his own friends even, right? And that's just so sad. And so after this time, he's telling the therapist he has these feelings that he's not worthy. He's not worthy, and that he's gonna fail every time. He's never going to have a girlfriend. He's never going to lose weight. But why even bother, right? It's that same awful mentality. And it's similar to what Tina's going through, like the whole beating yourself up and just not trying anything new at all because maybe you're just gonna fail, right? So it was very eye-opening, and I did enjoy that part. But for some people like Tammy from 1,000 Pound Sisters, you gotta have privacy or you're not gonna open up in your therapy, right? But yeah, this vlog pod has gotten so long. I'm gonna wrap it up. The episode basically ended with Vanessa at home in bed in a lot of pain and kind of freaking out a bit because she thinks something's wrong because it's that level of pain. So I don't know if she just got home when that clip was made or if it was several hours or a day or two. I don't know. But hopefully she gets some help with that. Maybe she needs more pain meds, but monitored by a nurse or something. Just get checked up, mentally have this relief by being checked up. Sometimes you just need the doctor to tell you it's okay, everything's fine, and that helps so much. So, this has gotten long. I'm going to close it out now. This episode was packed with so much, and I really am enjoying this season so much. I hope it continues in the next seasons, or I hope it just keeps getting renewed and it keeps getting better. And yeah, I'll check in again for the next one. I hope you're having a motivating day. Make it positive however you can. Take it easy, but also challenge yourself. Happy motivating, happy goal getting. Bye.